So, hi everyone, I am Luca. Right now I'm in my room because I have the best connection here, but I swear I'm not wearing my pajama. And you're about to attend to a Twist webinar. I'm not sure if anybody of you knows what Twist is. Twist is a European project about fostering startup growth, offering services to empower networking and mentorship and sharing knowledge. And Twist is made up of 4 partners. One is Rome. I am in Rome right now. One is Lille, one is Warsaw, and one is Stockholm. And many of you guys are from Eurotechnology, which is one of the partners joining in this project. So today we're going to talk about growth hacking. I am the guy for this job because I've been in a startup for the last 2 years. The name of the startup is Atuma. Actually, like yesterday was the last day I've been in this startup because I'm leaving it to launch my own. And I'm also a consultant and a teacher in digital marketing at university and also private courses. And working in a startup, I found out about this growth hacking thing, and I completely fell in love with it. And also I realized that in Europe, it's not that of a thing. Nobody's talking about it, or very, very few people. So it's kind of an ocean blue. And so I decided to start this Growth Hound startup. We're going to launch our MVP in a month or so. And what we do is providing a platform with education about growth hacking, so online courses mostly. And that's what I do. So now I'm going to share the screen so you can follow me on the presentation. If something doesn't work well, please ping me somehow. Okay, now it's full screen. So I'm gonna start. So I have no idea if something goes wrong from now on, so please interrupt me somehow by activating the microphone. I'm gonna start with a question, which will be pretty silent because your microphones are off. So, do you have any idea of who this guy is? Because this guy's name is Sean Ellis, and in 2010 this guy invented the word growth hacking. He's not that famous probably, but maybe you've heard of Dropbox. Maybe you've heard of Eventbrite. If you've been a nerd setting up private networks LANs to play online, probably you've used Amachi, Log Me In. That's also a company. And now this guy is working on its own company, which is called Koalaru, and it's a tool for marketer to have live feedback on page on your website, asking questions as a questionnaire widget. And he also runs the greatest international online community about growth hacking, which is growthhackers.com. And basically, this guy is the guy who launched Dropbox and launched Eventbrite. And what happened is that he started to realize that what he was daily doing in these companies, and actually what really got some impressive results, was completely different to what a traditional marketer would do. So he started to think, well, maybe this startup marketing is starting to develop its own identity, and we need to start giving names to this thing. And he was trying to hire, actually, he was trying to hire more marketers for his team. But every time he was trying to figure out if the skills on the resume were good enough for the job, he realized that all the traditional marketing skills were inappropriate for a startup in growth phase. So he completely stopped, he ceased to post job offerings for VP of marketing. And he said, from now on, I'm going to start to search for a growth hacker. And that's how growth hackers were born. So it's 2015. It's merely 5 years, this thing has a name. And if you do a quick check on Google Trends, you realize how this buzz has been growing during the last few years. So, but what does it mean, growth hacker? Growth hacking. So the first word is growth. Growth per se means something that is measurable. Growth is a trend. Growth is comparing a measure from before something and after you've done that something. And we see a lot of this kind of mindset into growth hacking, because growth hacking, it's all about data and metrics. So growth is something that can only be called so if it's measurable. There's no growth without measure. And the second word, hacking, have a lot of meaning. Actually, what we're interested about, what the hacker word means in growth hacking, can have actually two ways of expressing an appropriate meaning. One is to hack, like with an axe, so cutting straight to the core of a problem in an aggressive way. And the other way, it's not the illegal black hat hacker like cyber criminal, but actually is the unconventional problem solving, because this is what hackers do. This is the hacker DNA in every startupper, the diagonal thinking, the way of finding other alternative solutions to problems. And this is exactly what a growth hacker do. Growth hacking starts historically with a love story. Once there were two guys working in a big company, and they were basically exchanging jokes and messages using the internet. But at some point they realized that probably their boss could probably catch them and be pretty pissed off. So they said, well, let's develop our own provider to exchange messages. And they developed a thing that will be later called Hotmail. And Hotmail had some problems with growth. They needed more users, because of course they started for something personal, then they realized this service could be useful for a lot of people. And when they were struggling with growth, one of their investors, a certain Tim Draper, which I hope you know who it is, suggested to them, how about if every single email every single one of our users send using our service will have below in the sign a standard sentence. And the sentence is, PS, I love you, get your free account at hotmail.com. This simple move, it's very basic, it's very simple, it's a simple feature, let's say, but actually this transformed every single message sent by every single user into an acquisition channel. This unleashed a massive word of mouth, a massive referral, a massive traffic to Hotmail, and an exponential growth into accounts. A growth so big that they were acquired by Microsoft, and now Hotmail doesn't even exist, basically. It's inside Outlook, as we know it. Another great example of growth hacking is Dropbox. Dropbox had an amazing referral program. Not sure if you ever used it, but actually Dropbox gives you 250 megabytes for free if you invite a friend, and that friend subscribes to the service. So this is something that basically was responsible during from 2008 and 2010. They went from 100K users to 4 million in 15 months. And among this growth, 35% of this massive growth can be accounted to this referral strategy. So just an incentive is gamification. If you do this thing, you receive an incentive. What is this thing? Is bringing your friend inside my service. So it's having your user doing marketing for you for free. And this has worked really, really well for Dropbox. Also Instagram, I'm not sure if you ever noticed, but anytime you post a photo on Instagram, you're asked if you want to share it also at the same time on other social networks. And if you've noticed, whenever this happens on Facebook, you'll see that you probably will find a lot of photos on Facebook which are posted this way from Instagram. And actually this is visible. You can read that the source is Instagram. And thanks to this little referral link, and thanks to the fact that Instagram photos are pretty unique, because we all know that Instagram leverage their unique, beautiful filters vintage styles. So if you just scroll down on the Facebook feed and you see an Instagram photo, you just know it's an Instagram photo. Thanks to this, Instagram leveraged all the users already subscribed to Facebook to make them discover Instagram and go from Facebook to Instagram. And this is basically called leveraging existing platforms. And this simple link is, let's say, a little growth hack that helps Instagram achieve a massive growth in terms of users. They just ask themselves, where are our potential users? Well, they are all using a service which is called Facebook. So instead of going, I don't know, randomly asking to subscribe, we can post our photos there and have them click and go to our service and discover us. Also, Airbnb is accountable for one of the most famous growth hacks, one of the most iconic, and this is the Craigslist hack. Basically, they discovered, let's say, kind of an opening, like a bug in Craigslist API, and so in their early phase, they could double every single posting from Craigslist to Airbnb, from Airbnb to Craigslist. So the people from Craigslist will automatically find stuff that was actually posted on Airbnb. And clicking on the post, they will go to Airbnb and discover Airbnb. And this is also a great example of leveraging existing platforms. In this case, it was very, very technical. And in fact, after a few months, Craigslist figured it out and fixed the problem. So Airbnb got cut off, but actually they managed to steal a lot of users this way and grow. Also, PayPal is one of the most extreme examples of the focus growth hackers dedicated to growth. They had also a struggle within growing users. They had a limited time to reach a certain amount of users. If I'm not mistaken, it was because they needed to receive another investment and they needed to show up some KPIs. And what happened? They basically tested a lot of marketing channels, and they calculated acquisition costs for every channel. So like billboards, how much money are we spending for billboards? How much people is signing in thanks to billboards? And then you get the acquisition cost, and it was very, very high in all cases. So they decided to do this extreme thing. For a while, if you subscribed to PayPal, you would have $10 already into your account. This is the same thing as going down on the street and saying to people, $10, take my $10 please and download my fucking app. You guy, you over there, take $10 and download the app. And why were they doing that? Because they tested all the other alternatives and the acquisition cost was higher. So they did this for a brief period of time, which seems madness, and actually it worked. They grew and they managed to go on. And now we all know PayPal is a market standard. So to do all these things, you can easily figure it out that a growth hacker needs to be both a coder somehow. It needs to have some engineering skills, at least in terms of feasibility of things. He's not the actual guy who implements APIs, but he's got to be aware of what are the APIs available and what you can do with them. And also he's got to be somehow a product guy. He has to be to know design principles, because the real value of marketing is not about the communication, but it's about the product itself. So you can say that growth hacking is when marketing is done not with a creative mindset like storytelling and we gotta be emotional, we gotta be engaging and blah blah blah, lots of unmeasurable crazy stuff in which you dump money. But it's marketing when you do marketing with an engineering mindset. So not storytelling campaigns, but experiments. Experiments with goals and KPIs and different ways to test and measure how much money you're putting in it and how much return of investment you get. And only by doing this measurement systematically, you can really do a lot with few resources. And this is exactly the context in which startups are moving. We have no money and we have to go global. So this is a mindset that's really useful in a world where we have scarcity of marketing budget. Where do I start if I want to do growth hacking? You start from product market fit, because growth hacking actually is completely based on lean principles. If you have not read this book, I suggest you finish hearing me, you finish following this webinar, you go on Amazon and you buy and read the freaking book. Because the Lean Startup is a philosophy born out of this guy, Eric Ries, which asked himself, why 98% of startups fail? How's that possible? And he tried to answer this question. And his answer to this question is, that's because after 6 months, after 1 year, 2 years of salaries, effort, PR, putting on TechCrunch and blah, 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 they discover that they have built something that nobody really cares about. And why is that? Because they didn't validate their idea. They just lost contact with reality. They followed their riskiest assumptions without confronting themselves with customers from day zero. This is something that should guide you every day, I think. Paul Graham is one of the most successful developers, entrepreneurs, investors of our time. He's one of the Silicon Valley guys, which is worth hearing. And he says, make things people want. There's also a metric to discover if you reach product market fit. This is by Sean Ellis, actually, the guy from Dropbox. He says that you have reached product market fit if at least 40% of your customers says that if your product were to disappear from the market tomorrow, at least 40% of your user base should declare that they will be very, very disappointed. So what is product market fit exactly? Is this stage of product development in which you really have reached a consistent way of synchronizing your offering of value with what your customers want. In this way, your product starts to be sticky. People will fall in love with it. People will continue to use it. People will start to form habits with your product, with what you're offering. If you have not reached product market fit, you can forget about public relations and TechCrunch and focusing on growth because you're not ready. You should focus on product and find out a way to serve it to your customers in a way that they really, really like it. This is product market fit. When you've reached it, you can focus on growth. How can you go there without spending all your money? You should build MVP, minimum viable products. This means a prototype that shows the core features, which represents the core value of what you're offering, okay? And this way you can serve it to your customer. Of course it's gonna suck, it's gonna have a lot of bugs, but it will show what is it that you can do for them. And you can start receiving feedback from day one and learn. And base your future features and product development on what your customers, which is the people which is gonna pay your salaries for the rest of your life, if you're good, so you better listen to them, will give you direct feedback on what they want, what they like, and what they don't like, and how should you move from now on. So growth hacking is about product development, of course. It's a new way of conceiving marketing, but it's not just the last step. It's not like I could say to somebody, you see this pen, sell me this pen. Because what about if this pen is uncomfortable to use, as low quality ink, and it's not the color every people like? We need to change the product in order to do real marketing. And if changing a feature into my product, if embedding a share on Facebook button will bring me a shitload of users, isn't that marketing? Isn't that something a marketing strategist or a growth hacker should think of? So this is the new way that growth hacking is proposing to reconceive marketing. So at first, you focus on your product, you achieve product market fit, and then you focus on growth. How do you get to growth? Well, there are a lot of marketing frameworks we can use. Traditional marketers knows that the four P of Porter's, or maybe SWOT analysis, for example. But I believe that the value of data, uh, the value of measurement of analytics, we have a lot of way to measure things nowadays. Since we move on digital marketing, there's Google Analytics. We overcame the problem we had like in 40 years ago, 20 years ago, when there was no way to measure how much return of investment you could get by a billboard or by an advertisement on TV. Now we can measure everything online. The actual point is, what should I look at to figure out if I'm going good or bad? Because there's too much stuff to measure. So there's a framework which is very, very used in 500 Startups Incubator in Silicon Valley. This framework was brought by Dave McClure, and it's called Startup Metrics for Pirates, and you'll see why. This is a framework that synthesizes all the user journey within your product experience, and it's very useful because you have different conversion rate, and you can see that maybe the problem is not in the communication, but it's another step. For example, let's say we have a blog and we sell consultancy by this blog, like Neil Patel or marketing expert like that. So we have, for example, social media marketing. We intercept people on social media marketing, and with our articles, we get them from Facebook to our blog. So this is an acquisition strategy. New people meet us through social media. We do SEO, search engine optimization. People search for something, they found us, they get on our blog through this link. This is also acquisition. We get featured on our greatest, let's say, our greatest web magazine in our market field. That's cool. A lot of people is going to discover that we exist. They're going to visit our site, maybe. This is acquisition. Then people are on our website. They need to do something. We want them. We have prepared a website. We have optimized it on a user experience level to make them do something. For example, leave an email in a form to subscribe to our newsletter. And why we should do that? Because email marketing converts way higher than social media, for example. So you actually do want them to leave you the email. So people are one step down the funnel. They need to do some action. This is the activation step. Maybe we're good with social media marketing. A lot of people go on our website, but if our website sucks, nobody's going to leave you your email. And working on SEO and social media will not solve the problem because it's another step. Then we have retention, and this is the real marketing magic. This is where's the real deal. And what happens is that a lot of marketers, traditional marketers, focus all day on acquisition strategies. And this is not a solution for your problems, because this is where the product issue is. You can make a lot of people use your product, but if the product sucks, nobody is gonna share the word and spread the message about it. So you have to build a relation and have loyal customers. This is retention. Then there's revenue, because if people read your blog all day and are very satisfied with all the tips you're giving them for free, they will buy something. They will trust you. They will trust your expertise. They will trust the solution you can give them. And there's the money. There's the revenue stage. In revenue, for example, you can optimize your pricing page. You can use discounts and a lot of strategy to optimize this step. And then there's the referral. If the people are satisfied with using the product, they will spread the word. Or maybe you can say, thank you for buying, now share it on Facebook. Thank you for buying, now tell it to your friends. Thank you for buying, now if you invite a friend, you will have a discount next time, for example. And these are all referral strategy, working on sharing the word. And what happens? If this funnel is optimized, if somebody enters from the acquisition through Facebook, for example, Facebook ads, and then loves your website, leaves you email, starts receiving newsletters, fell in love with your blog, and then he starts his own business and he knows that you're the best and calls you and you give consultancy and you're good and he is satisfied, he will share the wall with their friends, for example. And if one user sends you back like 2 of his friends, you have the marketing magic in which you activate word of mouth, which is still the most powerful marketing channel in 2015, and you will obtain virality. So the message here is that virality is not something a communication campaign can do. virality is not in the communication. Virality is in the product itself. Because if Facebook is the greatest social media, if Google has the monopoly of search engines, if Dropbox is so famous, it's because they are the best in what they are doing. It's because they are worth sharing. So if you want to obtain virality, please build something that deserves that virality. And the only way you can do that is by working along with your customer in a lean way. And then after you've reached product market fit, you can pour gasoline on fire and then aim to achieve this massive growth, optimizing the right steps in which you recognize you have problem in converting. So if you want to know more about growth hacking, I have set up this page. This is a free service. It's called Ziff. It's like if I share publicly a bookmarking page. These are all links about growth hacking in different boxes with different subjects. For example, free guides, free courses, growth hackers to follow on Twitter. This is the address of the page. It's just a page with links. It's free. You can visit it, and you can study this stuff at home, which is something I really, really, really suggest. But first, read the book, the Lean Startup book. So I thank you for having me. Now, I'm not sure how much time this took, but we will have some question and answers now. So I think I'm going to turn off the screen share. And I was thinking what would be nice is to have a conversation. So try to talk to each other for these questions. But I'm also concerned about edu issues, so maybe the best thing is that you write a question as a message or using the Q&A plugin in Hangout. And when I'm answering the question, maybe you'll activate the Microsoft and we'll talk about it if you have them. So please ask stuff if you want. Of course, I will share the presentation as soon as we're finished, so if you want to see it again or you've lost the Ziff link with all the growth hacking resources, you can catch up.
Luca, just for you to know, is still in live.
Okay.
Did you turn off the recording?
Yes, I'll shut off the recording right now.
Okay. Thank you.